Brett Feldman.
Dustin Pastor.
Lynn Hertak.
Samantha Walker.
Also in attendance this evening are from legal, Ms. Susan Johnson-Velez, from Development Coordination, Ms. Roberta Mead Curry, and Brett Burks, from Natural Resources, Owen Williamson, and I do not see Mr. Scott from Transportation at this moment. Okay, so he's available by phone. There are some procedural rules you need to follow. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, please adhere to safe social distancing as set within the room, and please maintain wearing facial masks at all time. When your case number and petitioner's name is called, please approach the podium. When you approach the podium, please state your name, address, and if you have been sworn in. The petitioner and/or their agent will have 10 minutes to make a presentation. All other persons or participants wishing to speak will have 3 minutes, and then the petitioner will have an additional 3 minutes for rebuttal if needed. The time periods as stated will be kept by the board. Any information such as pictures or plans that have not been previously submitted as part of your petition and you intend to present at this hearing for consideration in support of your petition must be individually presented and accepted by the board. After acceptance by the board, you may submit the item to staff for it to be entered and made part of the permanent record. The board bases its decisions on competent and substantial evidence which are presented and which meet the criteria required by the city's code of ordinances. The variance granted by the board will only be for what is shown on the site plan and will be in compliance with any terms and conditions stated in the approval by the board. All other city codes will need to be met. If the case is approved, your variance will expire 2 years from the date of the decision. If the case is continued, it will be continued to either next month's VRB board agenda or the next available positioning on an upcoming VRB board agenda. If the case is denied, you may wish to have the variance board review's decision reviewed, appealed by City Council, and you must file the petition for review of the board's decision within 10 business days of the written decision. You will not be able to pull any permits until after the 10 days review appeal period has passed. Your cooperation ensuring that this meeting is run smoothly is greatly appreciated. And may I move to approve the minutes from June 9th without objection?
Brett Feldman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask legal staff to confirm any ex parte communications and conflicts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Board members, have any of you had any ex parte communications with anyone about any application to come before you this evening? Do any of you believe you have conflicts of interest with respect to any application to come before you this evening? Seeing none, we're confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you. With that being said, is there any business regarding the agenda that staff would like to address?
Yes. Good evening, Roberta Mead Curry, Planning and Design and Development Coordination. Just note that the cases VRB 28, 29, 30, and 31 were misnoticed. They were originally scheduled for this hearing and then have been scheduled for the July 14th hearing. We do have 9 cases on the July schedule, so you do have room for a couple more if that needs to happen this evening. I also have a question. I did send you in your information packet your addresses and contact information for all board members, so I just want to make sure that's all correct. If it's not correct, please go ahead and get that to me so we can update the website. That is all I have.
Okay, any new business you'd like to address, Roberta?
I do not.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask staff to please conduct the swear-in.
Brett Burks, zoning staff. Please stand. Do you agree to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. Our first case this evening is VRB 2033, located at 551 West Davis Boulevard. Is that applicant present? Yes? Okay. Ms. Curry, would you like to update us on this case?
Yes. Can you hear me? No. Okay. Again, Roberta Curry, Planning, Design, and Development Coordination. Let me know if you cannot hear me. And anyone in the audience, if you can't hear me, please raise your hand and we'll do the best we can to make sure you hear us. Okay, first case this evening is VRB 2033. The address is 551 West Davis Boulevard. The applicant is seeking relief from section 27-156 to reduce the front yard setback along the east side along South Davis Boulevard from 25 feet to 18 feet, and reduce the front yard setback along the west side of West Davis Boulevard from 25 feet to 17.5 feet. The applicant is seeking to construct a new single-family residence. The property is zoned RS 75, and the Hillsborough County Property Appraiser information is included in your packet. LDC Transportation has found it consistent. Natural Resources has found that the application does not trigger tree and landscape code. And Natural Resources is here this evening if you have any questions. Zoning has found it inconsistent. This is the staff report from Natural Resources. Property appraisers information, page 1. Property appraisers information, page 2. This is the variance map. Again, we are on Davis Island. This is the property in question here in red. All properties surrounding are RS 75. This is South Davis Boulevard, which turns into West Davis Boulevard, and then West Davis Boulevard continues here. Okay? And the direction pointing this way is north. Looking straight into the property. Looking down West Davis Boulevard. Looking down South Davis Boulevard, south, towards the airport. This is north, looking north on West Davis Boulevard. Looking south on West Davis Boulevard. Again, that is the property in question here. Again, looking straight into the property. And again, looking across the property, again, looking south, and the airport is in this direction. And here is a site plan. Again, the South Davis Boulevard is here. West Davis Boulevard is here. The airport is located here. This is the proposed structure. And again, this property is unique. It has 2 front yards because it fronts 2 streets. So we have a 25-foot setback requirement here and a 25-foot setback requirement along this street. We do have the determination from the FFA, the Federal Aviation Authority Administration, that there would not be an issue. And that is the flight pattern that they gave us. The applicant has noticed correctly. I do have several letters of opposition, and I have 2 that I received today, so I have copies that I will distribute to you this evening. So we have a letter of opposition from the Davis Island Civic Association. This is their letter here. They have also asked us to include a condition, if you can read that italics portion for your consideration this evening. I do have an opposition letter from Mr. and Mrs. Roger Steffen. I do have a letter that we've received today from Jerry and Victoria Rubel. And I have a letter received today from Stephanie and Eric Martuza. And I'll bring you those copies today. If Owen would like to come up and give his report, please.
Owen Williamson, Natural Resources. Like Roberta said, this application does not really trigger application of the tree and landscape code. There's, I would note on the site plan, it looks like there's one tree in the footprint of the building, but when I visited the site, there was no tree at that location, so there doesn't appear to be any actual tree removals on this application. Thank you.
Okay, applicant, could you please state your name, address, and whether or not you've been sworn?
Good evening. For the record, my name is David Wright, president of TSP Companies. My address is P.O. Box 1016, Tampa, Florida 33601, and I have been sworn.
Okay, you've got 10 minutes to present your case.
Okay, thank you. I am the spokesperson tonight representing the property owner, Jeffrey Reynolds, who is also present tonight. We are requesting a variance to reduce the RS-75 front yard setbacks from the required 25 feet to 17.5 feet along West Davis Boulevard and from 25 feet to 18 feet along South Davis Boulevard. The hardship and practical difficulty that necessitates this variance is the extremely irregular pie-shaped lot requiring 25-foot setbacks on each side facing West Davis and South Davis Boulevards that each have larger than average rights-of-way. The back of curb to edge of pavement ranges from 36.4 feet to 37.4 feet on West Davis Boulevard and from 26.2 feet to 27 feet on South Davis Boulevard. The right-of-way and required 25-foot front setback results in effective setbacks of 61.4 feet on West Davis Boulevard and 51.2 feet on South Davis Boulevard. If granted, the reduced front yard setbacks combined with the existing width of the right-of-way will result in effective setbacks of 53.9 feet on West Davis Boulevard and 43.2 feet on South Davis Boulevard. In the interest of time, I'll refrain from reading all of the hardship criteria responses as they are included in your packages. We prepared a professional and thorough application package in compliance with the city's land development code requirements. We noticed the surrounding property owners and posted the property. I'll address the objection letters received that were in the Excel file and also that Ms. Mead Curry read tonight. The Davis Island Civics Association took a neutral position on the request and acknowledged the irregular shape of the lot and that the subject is subject to a front yard setback on two sides of the property. We agree with the association's position that West and South Davis Boulevards must continue to support multiple modes of transportation, street parking, and ingress-egress for property owners. This is not a request to reduce the rights-of-way of West or South Davis Boulevards. Therefore, the approval of this request will not impede the city's ability to improve infrastructure, to provide safe travel for pedestrians, cyclists, cars, trucks, golf carts, scooters, or other modes of transportation. Mr. and Mrs. Stefan and Mr. and Mrs. Rubel. Mr. and Mrs. Stefan own property at 546 West Davis Boulevard, and the Rubels own property at 543 West Davis Boulevard. They submitted objection letters, and respectfully, those letters did not provide competent and substantial evidence to support their objections. Additionally, each request for a variance is to be evaluated independently and on its own merits. The fact that these two property owners were denied variances in the past should have as irrelevant to this request. The other letter that was read into the record tonight by the Martuzas, they object to concerns start with more hard space, roof shedding water during storms into less yard and making flooding in the area worse than it already is. We're not seeking relief from the maximum impervious area allowed in the land development code. So we will abide by the land development code for maximum impervious area. They also objected granting this variance will impact the bus stop across from the apex of the yard of this property, where there's a stop sign which is already commonly ignored by vehicles. The reference bus stop is 4 houses to the north of the subject property on the opposite side of West Davis Boulevard. Granting this variance will not adversely impact site distance on West Davis and South Davis Boulevards, and City Transportation Department did not object to this request. Based on the above, I respectfully request your approval, and I'm here to answer any question.
Does that conclude your presentation?
It does, thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on this case? Seeing none, I'll open it up for board questions.
Could we please put the site plan on the envelope, please? Thank you. I mean, I'm sorry, as the rookie, I will start again, I'm sorry. Honestly, I think it was a diligent, well-done, well-thought-out proposal. I think the fact that that lot is probably one of the most, if not the most irregularly shaped piece of property on Davis Island, with those kind of setbacks, just in itself should satisfy most of the hardship criteria set forth in those guidelines. And when you really look at it, for the amount of square footage, there is actually very little of the overall structure, when you look at it as a percentage, that's going to be able to, that impedes on what is already a very difficult envelope to fit in. And I've ridden bikes on Davis Island for years, and that is a very, very dangerous intersection, and it needs to be kept open. And the fact that they've located it where they've located it, you know, I don't think that these folks had any other choice. And again, I think it's a well thought out, well done design, beautiful presentation, addressed all the points required to be granted a variance.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you.
No question?
I have a question. Have you spoken with the Davis Island Civic Association on this application?
No, we didn't have any communication with them directly.
Okay, so do you have any idea what they're talking about when they ask for sidewalks to be included on West and South Davis Boulevards?
Was that the
Or
account?
to your knowledge, are you
I'm-
required
I
to?
don't see that in their letter, and no, I don't have any knowledge of that.
Okay.
What was it that they were requiring in the italicized portion? You pulled that letter out, the condition based upon what?
It's a standard condition of any variance approval. It says, should the VRB grant the variance request, such approval must include language stating that the variance is only applicable to the specific protrusions listed within the site plan, and that sidewalks must be included on West and South Davis Boulevard. Mr. Reynolds, would you agree to put sidewalks on the frontage of your property?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Feldman?
I just have one quick question. And I agree with most of what Mr. Farrell said earlier. This is a very irregularly shaped lot. You have 2 front yards. That's unusual. I agree that that meets the setbacks. The only question I'd have is, to the extent that somebody says it's a pretty big house, why is it you can't make it work under the existing setbacks? Do you have a response to that? And by the way, I'll also agree, one of the points that Mr. Farrell made was that it was, there's fairly minimal intrusion into the setbacks. But that then begs the question, is there a possibility that you could make it work with the setbacks?
You can be sworn in.
What's the overall square footage? Air conditioned.
5100, 5177.
Okay. 5177 is not, when you look at what goes up on Davis Island now.
Well, we can't make testimony for him.
Yeah,
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'm
Sorry.
asking him, and I, again, we understand what the neighborhood looks like.
Right.
Although, you know, maybe he can explain that to us a little bit better.
Excuse me.
But, you know, it's almost a devil's advocate question I'm asking you. Is there a reason why we can't make it work under the setbacks?
Can Mr. Reynolds be sworn in, please?
Sure, and if there's anybody else, maybe?
Does anybody else need to be sworn in? Okay.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thanks.
Please state your name, address, and whether or not you've been sworn, even though we just saw it.
Jeffrey Reynolds, 17400 Gulf Boulevard, North Reddington Beach, 33708,
Okay.
for the meantime. In designing the home, you'll see that it took us forever to find a lot on Davis Island, And the way that the pie shape came into play, if you look, we did not even place a pool at the home because we have 2 children of high school age, and certainly being able to have more space to live in and the way that it would fit on the lot, they moved that at least 100 times, trying to turn it more this way and more that way when it came to the roof lines and things of that nature. And they were trying to be cognizant, our designer was, of the 2 neighbors that we had next to us as well, so that we didn't really impede upon. If you'll see in the design, we didn't put one of those rooftop bars or anything of that nature because we came from Brandon, where it's very rural, and we respect our neighbors out there. So we wanted to be great citizens of the island.
Thank you.
I would also just like to point out that none of the adjacent property owners are objecting to this request.
Good.
Thank you.
Is there any other board questions? Seeing none, you have a right to 3 minutes of rebuttal if you'd like.
I'll pass, thank you.
Okay. Then, without any objection, we'll close the public hearing and move to a motion or board discussion.
I will make a motion, but I'm sorry, I need my language, excuse me. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, and this is for approval without conditions? Correct?
I think that we discussed the condition of sidewalks.
Yes.
Side,
so it would
okay,
be with-
Agreed
with
to.
conditions?
Yes.
All right, okay, thank you. Move that the variance request for case VRB, I'm sorry, is that 30? I'm on the wrong,
2033.
excuse me. Let me get the right agenda. For VRB 2033, location 551 West Davis Boulevard, as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing dated June 16th. Let's see, I'm sorry, June 16th, with the following conditions: that sidewalks be installed on, was it West and
South Davis.
South Davis Boulevard. That said variance as conditioned be granted based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 2780 of the city code, specifically that there is an irregular lot and they have done their best to maintain what code they could.
I might amend that they have 2 front yards. If you'd accept that amendment.
Absolutely.
Do we have to amend what the actual request is?
The request?
He didn't read the request. Do we need to do that?
You need to make sure you mention the actual request language in the motion.
So there's a spot in the
Right.
script
Mhm.
which has
Specifically that?
to request to reduce the front yard setback.
Okay, all right, to reduce, so I need to spell out what that is.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, to reduce, the request is to reduce the front yard setback along the east side along South Davis Boulevard from 25 to 18 feet, and reduce the front yard setback along the west side along West Davis Boulevard from 25 feet to 17.5 feet, as per section 27-156.
Okay, and there's a motion
With-
on, oh, Ms. Curry?
May I request that you repeat the condition, please? We did not get the full text.
Yes, ma'am, and there were 2 conditions, I believe, and the first condition was that there were going to be a sidewalk on West and South Davis, and the second condition was,
That was it.
that was it? Okay.
The the Civic Association requested that we restrict them to what's shown on the site plan, but that happens by nature of the motion.
Of the motion? Okay.
Okay? So we're going to do the vote a little bit differently this week in order to have better record keeping.
We need a
Second.
Oh, we need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. In order to have better record
Thank
keeping,
you.
we need to say our names before we say our votes so that we have it on the record, okay? And this time,
Brett Burke zoning. Who was that on that note? Who seconded?
I did.
Ms. Hurtado.
Sorry, I'll say mine, we'll do that again too. We'll do names and seconds, I guess.
I guess we can do that. Okay.
I'll try.
Thank you.
So this time, let's start on the right side.
Samantha Walker, A.
Lynn Hurtak, yes, aye, whatever.
Dustin Pastor, aye.
Brett Feldman, aye.
David Farrell, aye.
Okay, your motion's been approved, 5-0. Just a note to the board members, if you have a city council name tag in front of you, please flip it around or flop it down, because on TV you have both names in front of you. You. Yeah. Okay. So our next case is case VRB 2038, located at 3028 Van Buren Drive. Are you present? Yes? Yes. Okay. Ms. Curry?
Okay, and I'm going to have some housekeeping. If you do speak, please speak as close as you can to the mic so we can get a good sound recording. Thank you. Roberta Mead Curry, Planning, Design, and Development Coordination, VRB case number 2038. The address is 3028 Van Buren Drive. The applicant is seeking relief from section 27284 to remove a 33-inch grand tree. Applicant is seeking to construct a new two-story, single-family home. The property is zoned RS60. The Hillsborough County Property Appraiser information is included in your packet. Right-of-way, transportation, and natural resources found it consistent. Zoning found it inconsistent. Again, Natural Resources is here to present additional documentation as needed. Planning, Property Appraiser's information, page 1. And since it is a vacant lot, it's only page 1. Can you read that? It's very fuzzy. This is the variance map. Said property is here in red, bordered by Commercial General. And the rest of the property abutting is RS60. West Van Buren is here. This is the front of the property, if you can see that. Lots of trees, overgrowth. Okay, looking west. Looking east. Site plan. Again, this is the front of the property along Van Buren. Proposed structure here. And they meet the setbacks in the front and on the sides and in the rear. The tree in question is the one here. The applicant has noticed properly. There is an arborist report included in your packet for information. And I have no other information to the record.
Owen Williamson, Natural Resources. This is- okay, So like Roberta said, Natural Resources has found the request consistent. The tree in question is a 33-inch live oak. It was graded at a C7. The tree is in overall good health without signs of any major defects, but the tree does have a very heavy lean towards the northwest, so sort of leaning back further into the lot, which would further create difficulty in designing around it. And the applicant has presented alternate site plans to show that, to demonstrate that they can't reasonably reconfigure the lot, and so this is why Natural Resources has found it consistent. Thank you.
Thank you. Applicant, please step up and give us your name, address, and whether or not you've been sworn.
Good evening, board members. Fred Henry speaking, Domain Homes, 5703 South McDill Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33603. And thank you, staff. Just here to
And have you been sworn in, sir?
What's that?
Have you been sworn in?
I have been sworn. Thank you for
Thank
reminding me. Staff did a great job explaining that. I did bring along to put into the record what I'm going to use to speak from. It kind of tells more of the story of what we tried to do with the site plan, move the house around, try to find a way to make that fit around the tree. And I've been in front of this board before, usually asking to save a tree. It's rare for me to come in front of the board to not want to save one, but I've got these here. I'm not sure of the protocol of where I hand them to or put them in. Do I give them to you, Roberta?
Well, if you want us to see them, you can put them on the overhead and then
I
turn
can
them
do that
in.
and I can give them to you? Okay,
And then
great.
turn them in, yeah, sure.
Perfect. So there's the site plan you have in front of you there. Basically, talking more about the neighbor's tree, the specimen, that 37-inch oak. We didn't want to encroach on that root zone. Obviously, it's a 27-inch that's right in front. That's right here, and the 37 there. It's also one of the rear neighbor's yard at the 28-inch oak, and of course, our subject tree right here as well. We did also move the house forward to 1875 minimum, which 25% reduction. Trying to see if we can get a little more out of that root zone and away from that tree, and wasn't successful. Again, not wanting to encroach on the neighbor's grant either. So that's why we're requesting that removal today on that tree. And I'm here for any questions you may have, and I appreciate your time and consideration.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this application? Seeing none, we'll open up for board questions.
It
All
seems
right.
pretty clear you can't move the house around.
I always
try to get it anywhere. And in all fairness, there is a requirement. How many trees are you going to be required to plant on that site? Is there
That's a good question. You know, can I defer to Owen for that?
Sure.
So typically these, the mitigation is determined at the time of permitting.
Okay.
So right now, we don't have the exact number, but
Yeah, but I mean, there will be other, obviously, there are replacement trees to
Absolutely.
mitigate for what's going on.
yes, there will be
Absolutely.
Yeah.
mitigation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Owen.
Okay, seeing no other questions, you do have 3 minutes for rebuttal.
I won't hold your time up. I appreciate you all taking the time out.
All right. Then, without objection, we'll close the public hearing and open it up for a motion or board discussion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay?
I move that variance request for case VRB 20-38 for property located at 3028 Van Buren Drive be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for removal of a grand tree based on the petitioner meeting the burden of proof with respect to, or with regard to the 6 factors for determining tree removal as set forth in section 27-284 to 5F4 of the city code for granting tree removal, specifically that the evidence provided and the record showed that the structure cannot be reasonably reconfigured. The applicant attempted to move the structure forward in an effort to save the tree, but that would have been impossible as well.
Is there a second?
I'll second
David
it.
Farrell, second. Okay.
Mr. Farrell?
David Farrell, second.
Okay. Then let's do a roll call from the right.
Samantha Walker, aye.
Lynn Hurtak, aye.
Dustin Pastor, aye.
Brett Feldman, aye.
David Farrell, aye.
Your motion's been approved, 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you, board.
Okay, the final case of the evening is VRB 2039, located at 132 Baltic Avenue. Are you present? Yes? Okay. Ms. Curry?
Correct. Go ahead and do that. All right, Roberta Mead Curry, Planning, Design, and Development Coordination. VRB case number 20-39. The address is 132 Baltic Avenue. The applicant is seeking relief from section 27-156 to reduce the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 7.6 feet. Applicant is seeking to build a new two-story addition to existing family residence. The property is zoned RS 75, and the Hillsborough County property appraiser information is included in your packet. Right-of-way and transportation is found consistent. Natural Resources application has found that the application does not trigger tree and landscape code. Zoning is found inconsistent. This is the report from Natural Resources. If you have any other questions, Owen is here this evening to clarify. This is the property appraisers, page 1. Property appraiser, page 2. Property appraiser information, page 3. Variance map. Again, the subject property is, that's not it. Okay, I don't have the site. Skip that. So the site plan is here. Again, this is on Davis Island. Baltic Circle is here. The existing structure is, look at this here. This is the masonry garage here. The existing structure is back here. The portion that is going to be added on to is back here. There is water here and there is a seawall. This is the front of the property. Front of the property looking more towards the west. Looking down the street. Get back at the side yard. And looking down the other direction of the street. And this is the side. It's difficult to see, but through this space here, and then the addition would be still within this footprint of the existing house. The applicant has noticed correctly. I have nothing further to add to the record.
Thank you. Applicant, please come up and state your name, address, and whether or not you've been sworn.
Thank you. My name is Benedict Tanko. It's 1702 West Cleveland Street, Tampa, 33606.
And have you been sworn?
We would like to reduce the...
Have you been sworn in, sir?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. You've got 10 minutes to present.
Okay, thank you. So we would like to reduce the rear setback from 20 feet to 7.6 feet. And Ovner, he would like to add 800 square feet to, it's a second floor addition to the existing footprint in the back. And Ovner parents, it would function as a grandparents suite because Ovner wants his parents moved back from Texas to Florida and they would live there. So original structure was constructed in 1927 and the layout, the concrete walls and the small rooms. So it's not functional. It's really hard to convert that building to a second master suite area, and the only easiest way to do this is to extend the second floor porch about 850 square feet and push it back with about 14 feet. That would reduce the setback from 20 feet to from 20 feet to 7.6 feet. I also have pictures from the back. Can I show those pictures?
Sure. Can you grab that microphone over on that
Just
side and
pull it toward you. Yeah,
tilt it
pull
toward
it.
you?
Yeah. There. Just 1 second. Let him get the mic on.
We good?
Sorry. Yeah. So this is the part of the second floor addition, 800 square feet. So existing footprint and neighbors here and here. This is another picture where you can see it doesn't block any view. It's just facing towards the channel. This is the two neighbors are here and here.
Do you have any plans you could show us?
Yes, I have. So these two rooms are existing, and this is the addition. This one here, this is the bedroom for the parents, and this is the family room. So with the porch, the balcony here, and the bathroom. That's all I have.
That's all you have? Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak on this application? No? Then I'll open it up for board questions.
Just a couple really quick questions. All right. So the house was built 1927?
1927, yes.
And you haven't modified it since you've owned it?
I think it was modified, but the line.
You haven't changed the exterior or built into the setbacks since you've owned it, correct?
in the past 100 years.
No, since you've owned it, how long have you owned?
No, I'm the contractor.
Oh, okay.
Actually, the owner, I don't know how long, but I think it's about like 6-10 years, I would say. But
Okay.
he wants, and his parents, they want to move back to Florida, so that would be if they can live together during this time. So
Okay.
that's why he plans to build this addition on the second floor.
And just to clarify, all you're doing is you're just building up on the existing footprint of the house?
Just on the existing footing, so no any other addition to the home.
Okay, thank you.
That's all, thank you.
I have a question. Does the height of the addition expect to be the same height as the existing home, or would it be taller or shorter than what the roof is now?
It's the same, so exactly the same. So
What occurs underneath this second story? Is it open porch or is it enclosed home?
It's an enclosed a room,
Okay.
like used for family room, but it's yeah.
Okay. Are there other questions? I'd like to see the site plan again. I don't know if you had it or if it was Ms. Curry. Do you have a site plan?
Again, Roberta Mead Curry, this is a diagrammatic site plan.
Okay. So the area in gray is obviously the second story proposed addition, correct? Yes, but on this other plan, so we can see the whole site. That's it? And that matches the footprint of the floor below exactly? Okay. All right, thank you. Any more questions? Seeing none, you have 3 minutes for rebuttal if you'd like to use it.
No, thank you.
Okay. And then without objection, I'll close the public hearing and open it up for a motion or board discussion.
Make a motion.
Mr. Feldman?
I move the variance request for case VRB 20-39 for property located at 132 Baltic Avenue be granted as depicted on the site plan presented at the public hearing for a reduction in the rear yard setback from 20 feet to 7.6 feet to build a new two-story addition to the existing single-family residence based upon the applicant presenting competent and substantial evidence in the record and at this public hearing of an unnecessary hardship or practical difficulty when considering the 5 hardship criteria set forth in section 27-80 of the city code, specifically that the house was built in 1927, that the existing footprint of the house already exists at this setback, and that the homeowner has not made any additions or changes that have increased the setback, that the new addition will simply build up from the existing footprint and will maintain the existing footprints except for raising the height up to the second story.
Thank you. We have a second?
Second.
Mr. Farrell?
Sorry.
Okay. And the vote.
Samantha Walker, aye.
Lynn Hurtak, aye.
Dustin Pastor, aye.
Brett Feldman, aye.
David Farrell, aye.
Brett Burks, zoning staff, was the second from Samantha Walker or David Farrell?
So Mr. Farrell.
Okay, thank you.
Your motion's been approved, 5-0. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Curry, do you have any business to discuss? Ms. Johnson?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, then that concludes the June 16th hearing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.